Hey Tony, it's Thursday, and first off, to answer your question of the week, I think what I'm most looking forward to is actually just playing the game with you. I think that's going to be pretty fun, and I'm excited to see where it goes. This also leads to what I want to talk about this video. So, I know you're a big fan of Jocat, Tony. So, I'm sure you already watched his crap guide to DMing that he popped up this weekend, which was brilliant in every way. Like, all of the cameos were great. My favorite one, I think, was Matt Mercer, but I also really like Matt Mercer.
OSP.
OSP was really good too. But it really got me thinking about how would you make a guide to DMing? Don't mind, our cats are fighting a little bit.
Boots.
Um, so every DM has their own real different style, and I've played many games with many DMs that every single one has their own distinct style. I've played in games in which we had a railroading DM, and it was good because we knew going into that it was going to be really railroady. I've played in games where it was all right, you're getting thrown in here, try not to die. And it every single DM does it differently. And like generally you can kind of look at two different camps as far as prep work goes. And Taylor and I call it, and many of our friends call it, you have your planners and you have your pantsers. Know what I said? Pantser, not panzer. But and like that's one continuum in which it's either you plan every single thing to the most meticulous detail, or you just go off by the seat of your pants. And in games I play in currently, we have two DMs that kind of represent two fairly opposite sides of that spectrum. I know I myself kind of lean a little more on the less planning um, DMing style, but that's just because the way I do it is I plan out a framework and then I just kind of go from there. Like I have the party is going to X place today to deal with Y thing. How they get there and what they do while they're there is completely up to the players, and it works really well for me. I don't have a lot of time to really like super plan out, and I've tried playing games where I super plan out everything, and it I didn't think it was very conducive to the way I DM, and I didn't think it made the games as fun as they could be. And so that's why like I kind of tend to rest on the plan the framework and then let the players choose whatever they want in between. And that's not for everyone. One of our DMs who's funny enough actually be running a pirate game the exact same time you are, is very much a planner, and he will spend hours in a week working on it. Like while he's watching TV with his wife and daughter, doing whatever. A lot of times he'll be working on a campaign. That's the way he DMs, and it works out really well. Like I think his games have been some of my favorites. They've been some of the longest I've played in, that had the most cohesive storylines. Because with him DMing, we've done Tombs of Annihilation, which was great. Well, it was great save for some aspects, but you and I already discussed that. The game itself was wonderful and was a really cool thing, and our friend really enjoyed running it. And then we did Waterdeep, Ice to Waterdeep, which was just fun. We did it in 13th Age, which is a great system if you get the chance. But we had a good time with it. And a lot of it was because of the way he DM'd it, and it was like he spent a lot of time planning everything out, planning like giving the descriptions for the whole setting, which was cool. And it was something that I know I really enjoy because I tend to play a little bit more with the eye of the imagination, in which I don't necessarily like describe specifically what's there, but instead I kind of give more vague descriptions that kind of let the players fill in the blanks how they want. And again, that works for me, but it doesn't work for everyone. One of our other DMs, who we've gone back and forth, we played a lot of mask game with him, is pants to the extreme. Like, I don't think he ever knows what he's doing in any given session. In fact, there have been many sessions in which what we were doing changed halfway through. And it turned out great because he's really good at thinking on his feet. He did a lot of improv back in high school and stuff, so a lot of that kind of goes into it, and it's just a different style.
I'm 50-50.
Like Justice thinks he's a little more 50-50. Again, like every single person is different, and that's just on the very basic level of pantsing or planning. You also have so many different aspects of, are you more player focused? Are you more story focused? Are you more combat focused? Or are you more role play? And every single game you play in is going to be different. And that's what I'm looking forward to, I think, most in yours, is I'm really excited to see how you DM, because I've never been in a game that you've been in. You've been in a couple of mine, and you kind of see my style. Like, I ended up, on the 5e game I ran that had you in it, I did a lot more planning on that one. And again, like, I don't think that game was as good as it could have been. And I think a lot of that was because the way I was setting it up was very much a planning. I didn't give you guys as much freedom as I usually do. Then you compare it to Masks, in which my story has drastically changed by just your guys' actions, but it's the way that works for me. And it doesn't work that way for everyone. I've had DMs who have tried to run it my way and it's been miserable. Absolutely terrible. Like, they had their framework, but they weren't able to put the threads together. They weren't able to get the combats together. Now, I think combat is one of my weakest points when I DM. I will be fully honest on that. I don't think I've ever run a really good combat. Actually, no, I think I've run maybe like one or two back in Star Wars, but even still, like, I've never run a really good combat, save for, like, again, those one or two instances. And that's a weakness that I have, so I don't tend to focus as much on combat. Like, I'll still have a fight or two in a session, but it won't be the sole focus. Whereas I played in a game, my first game actually, back, if you want to believe this, 10 years ago. No, not 10. 9 years ago, in which it was an entire siege that the DM super planned out. It was awesome. He used oh god, what was that old game called? Like Hero Realm, something like that. I don't even remember, but he used an entire like Heroes Realm set to make this really cool siege. And that's one that's really stuck in my mind. But yeah, everyone does differently, and I've had great combat DMs who are terrible at roleplay, and I've had great roleplay DMs who are terrible at combat. Everyone's different. Every single game is different, and it's part of the beauty of D&D, because it's whatever you want to make it, or not even D&D, just any RPG. It's part of that. The game is what you make it to be. You could be a war gamer and do an entire like big game focus on that, or you can be someone who's telling a story. And I love that about role-playing games, tabletop RPGs, and like video games and things. Like, when you tell this story, that's what I just eat up. I love the collective story. So Tony, I actually have two questions for you this week. One from Jay and one from me.
I'll do Jay's question.
Sure, Justice will do Jay's. We'll do Jay's question. All right, I'm switching it.
Oh god, don't switch it over to me.
All right, you've been switched over to.
Oh, come on. Jay's question was, who is your favorite waifu? They're busy playing Cyberpunk, so they can't answer. And I think they said it was Lady Armstrong.
Yeah, Lady Armstrong was Jay's from Full Metal. It's because you never got to meet her. So that's Jay's question. Who's your favorite anime waifu?
Jay said top 10, but if you can't do top 10, top 3.
Yeah, top 10, but if you can't do top 10, top 3, and I only expect one. But Tony, my question for you is, what do you consider your style of DMing? Are you more planning with a lot of roleplay? Are you more pantsing with a lot of combat? Or anywhere in between? Tony? I'll probably talk to you this weekend, but I'll see you on Monday. Later, bro.